the story because I watched the trailer and I love the trailer, and this is based on a true story.
Yeah, this is based on the Petrosian family. They are the most wonderful people. I actually got to meet them while we were filming. They came out to Romania while we were filming, so it was really, really special to like have them on set. But it's about their experience in coming to America. They're Armenian and they were born and raised in Azerbaijan. And the majority of this story takes place in like the late 80s, early 90s. And due to racial tensions, they had to flee their home.
Mm.
They went to Volgograd, Russia, and they were like given, like technically they were allowed to stay there, but they still faced a lot of racial tensions and
Yeah.
sort of threats, and they really struggled to find, I think, peace there. And while they were there, they were introduced to these really wonderful Christian missionaries who started a church in Volgograd. And so, they come from this communist background, and so it was kind of a leap of faith for them to test this out and try and experience, try something very different and very new for them. But it clearly changed their life. They started going to church and were invited to America by those Christian missionaries, who some of them, one of them is actually Isaac Norris's father, who Isaac Norris is the producer of the film. So his connection to the Petrosians is they're close family friends, and it's a really beautiful story about them seeking a home in this world, and also seeking really finding home, I think, in their faith too. So it's a very sweet story.
Just from the trailer that I saw, it looks like God is very prevalent part of this story. Would
Yeah.
you be able to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I think the element of faith in this story is because it's based on a real experience, it reflects that in the storytelling. Even like Yvonne is a little hesitant to join the church, and you can see this sort of real reactions to something that was so different from their culture. But then also you see how their lives are really transformed and changed, and the way they carry themselves in this world and the way they treat others, and the struggles that they were facing while they were in Volgograd. So much of it was handled and with love on their end. In one of the scenes, Violetta is kind of bullied at the school that she works at, and she shares on trial, not trial, but in court, she shares how her faith and her understanding and relationship with Jesus changes the way she interacts with people. How instead of carrying that hurt or lashing out at people, like she forgave them and she turned the other cheek. And it's those sort of very difficult challenges as Christians to love your enemies, or to love the people that despise you. And in this story, we get to see that played out, and we get to see what that type of love does for not just their family, but the people that they meet, and the rippling effect of their love that we get to see to this very day.
So I wanted to know, how did you come into joining this project?
At I'm going to get this wrong, International Christian Visual Media Conference. I did it last year. We went for the shift. And so we screened the shift there. And then afterwards, Isaac Norris approached me, and he reached out to my rep, and he was like, I have this script that his father actually had been watching The Chosen, and his father, who was the missionary, was
Wow.
suggested me for the role of Violetta. So he approached me, and when he mentioned that it was a story about an Armenian family, it like immediately I was very excited about that, because I'm part Armenian too.
Yeah.
And so when I read the script, I just I connected with it so much. It was such a beautiful story. And I saw parts of either, even my grandmother and great grandmother who are Armenian, like I saw parts of them in this story. So I was just very eager to get to help tell the story. Um, and yeah, I mean, in terms of the types of projects I like to do, it's a gift for me to get to do these types of projects. It's kind of a dream come true to be able to tell stories that uplift and inspire hope. And yeah, I mean, I think if that's the pattern of what's happening, I'm very lucky. I consider myself very lucky.
So I wanted to know, how was your experience creating this film, filming this film? Because unfortunately, it is so relevant even still today.
The themes in the film are certainly uh, they're coming over as refugees to America, and the struggle even within the court system. Uh, they're still struggling with being accepted and being
Mm.
believed and being, feeling like they belong. And the film highlights the beautiful poem that's at the base of the Statue of Liberty of "Bring me your poor, your huddled masses," these refugees from these other countries. And it re-inspires, I think, a pride in what America has been to so many people. And so many of us come from immigrant families and parents and grandparents and great grandparents. And it's just it's a beautiful film to be able to celebrate what America has represented to so many of us. Um, at the same time, there are moments in this film that, even though their fate is sort of up in the air, even though where they technically belong in the world is up in the air, there's still this growing confidence in their faith in God, and that there is always home and refuge and safety and security in that,
Yeah.
in their faith. And so, yeah, there's some really beautiful parallel messages in this that I'm excited for people to see.
Oh, wow. Was there a singular moment maybe that stands out to you while you were filming?
There was one day on set when the Petrosians were in the courtroom watching while I was filming a scene where I'm sharing um, how finding Jesus really changed the way I approached interacting with those who were hurting me or bullying me. And as I'm telling this story, Violetta is like right in the audience, and I'm just kind of looking at her. And it was a very surreal moment of like getting to tell her story back to her in a way.
Yeah.
I was just a total mess while I was doing it. And it was really special to get to have these moments with them and to be able to celebrate their story and their lives with them while we're filming. Yeah.
So how does playing this character, how does she differ from the other ones you've played in the past?
I think the biggest difference is her, she's a mother to these two girls, and she is fierce and about that. She's such a strong mother and cares so much for them, just will do anything to give them the best life, and to make sure that they have a chance in this world. And so that's different for me. I'm not a mother. So there was some, the other types of roles I've played have been focused a little bit more on, I don't know, spiritual life or emotional life. And there were moments in this film that I realized, like, oh, she almost can't afford to focus on her emotions. She has to focus on making sure her girls are okay. And so that was, I would say, probably the biggest difference, and a really wonderful challenge too.
How, so what does this movie mean to you?
And really, their story is always at the forefront of all of this, to get to share what they've gone through, how their faith has helped them throughout all of this, and also what moving to America has done for them, and has allowed them this really beautiful life full of so much joy, and they're giving it all back to everyone that surrounds them. They're at university, and they give back to the students and they take care of them, and especially international students. And you just see this snowball effect of their generosity and their hearts. And so to be asked to portray such an incredible woman is such it's such an honor and such a privilege. Being part Armenian, it is an added privilege and bonus to get to tell this important story of an Armenian family, which is also representative of so many Armenian families that have been displaced. And so, yeah, the whole thing is it's such a privilege.
So how are we going to feel leaving the theaters after seeing this? Like, what do you hope audiences take away?
Yeah, I mean, I think anyone that's from any sort of international heritage, it's going to touch them in a way or affect them in a way that others may not be able to understand. But also, if you have a heart for what Jesus does for your life and how Jesus completely transforms lives, I think, recognizing that within the story is also going to just be a reminder of like how challenging it is to be a Christian, to love your enemies, to turn the other cheek, to forgive, but also what beautiful things come from that and what beautiful lives evolve from that. And so, I hope that people walk away feeling re-inspired and can find a sort of pride, I think, in being American and what America has offered to people.
If you enjoy videos that follow your values like ours and you want to help us continue, go to movieguide.org/donate, because we're actually a nonprofit. You may not know that, but we're working in Hollywood every day to help families have more choices that follows their values. And also subscribe right now.